Add a static IP alias to a DHCP interface on Windows 8 and above. I have a Windows 8 machine that has only a single Ethernet port. It needs to use DHCP and also needs a static IP. Each IP is in a different subnet, and each serves a different, incompatible purpose. This machine must use DHCP because the site network admin says this is the only supported way to get a 192.168.x.y address. Either his network scheme doesn't have a static IP block within that subnet, or he won't assign one of them to this machine. I can't risk using a DHCP assigned IP statically, betting it won't be reassigned after the lease expires. That would let me use Windows' ability to assign multiple static IPs to the interface, but this is a production server, not something I can risk getting bounced off the network hours or days later. I realize that some DHCP servers let you set up static MAC to IP assignments, so that my machine's DHCP IP is never reassigned, but since I know of no DHCP server that will issue two different IP addresses, each in a different subnet, that's no help here. And if there is such a DHCP server, my client probably doesn't use it and wouldn't change over to it if I asked. Since I can't do this entirely with DHCP, I need a static IP because this machine also acts as a server to a 10.x.y.z subnet. The local network admins have given me a static IP in that scheme, but it's insufficient because I also need to talk to the 192.168.x.y side of the network. I'm aware of a similar question here. I'm asking again because that other question was posed when Windows 7 was current. Perhaps Microsoft used those 2+ years to fix this weakness in the Windows 8 network stack implementation? Yes, weakness. Linux allows a network interface with both a DHCP and a static IP. There's nothing about TCP/IP that prevents Microsoft from allowing this. They just have to write the code to allow it. It seems the network configuration GUI in Windows 8 has the same limitation as Windows 7's, but perhaps there is some low-level hack that will let us assign a static IP alias to the DHCP interface?
Finally, DHCP and static IPs can be configured to coexist on one NIC. This feature has landed in the Windows 10 Creators Update 1703. There is a new property called CP staticip coexistence in the Netch interface IP4 set interface command, which can be set to enabled, and this interface can be configured with multiple static IPs along with a DHCP configured IP. However, this has to be done with the netch at address command, not yet possible via the GUI. Little documentation has been published about the update to netch, and there is little discussion about it on the entire internet. Google search CP staticip coexistence gives only 5 results at the time of this answer. But this feature is real.
Here are the exact commands required for Cecil's suggestion based on Windows 10's new staticip coexistence feature. Find out the interface name. Enable staticip coexistence. Add a static IP address to your interface. Use command ipconfig/all to verify the static IP address is added. You cannot do it from GUI.
I wrote a small batch file. You can test to see if it works in your situation. Here it works fine. It will set your interface back to DHCP. After that it will extract IP, subnet mask, default gateway and the first DNS server. This is the difficult bit, especially if you have multiple interfaces. If it doesn't work, we need to fiddle here a bit to get it to work. If you want the second DNS too, it should be added here, but I didn't look that far because one DNS should be fine for now. It will set these settings static on the interface. After that you can add the 10.x.y.z address to your interface without a problem. Here is the script. You only need to run this once a period of your lease, or after a restart. So if your lease is 10 days, you could set this in the task scheduler for 3 AM on Sunday and after every restart. If your computer is always off at night, it would only be needed after restart.
One workaround could be to run a VM on the same machine and add a static IP to that VM. This will essentially provide a virtual adapter on the host port for the 10.x.v.z network. Custom networking configuration similar to the one you are requesting is well documented here.
If you want to have